Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our live webinar of eIMMIGRATION. My name is Vanessa Vargas. We have Cerenade. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about billing, critical processing modules, and also QuickBooks for those who are subscribed to the QuickBooks optional module. Every every live webinar we do, we record, and so you can always watch the video later. It's going to be in our YouTube channel. I also share my PowerPoint presentation, so if you click on handouts, you can download it. And you can ask me questions throughout the session if you click on the questions section or chat. So let's get started. Today, again, as I said, we're going to talk about billing. I'm going to show you how to customize the billing items and how to add expenses to create an invoice. We used to have it where you could only create an invoice from the case profiles, and now you can create invoices under the contact profiles. And I'll show you how you can add either late fees or discounts, obviously how to process payments, and how to send a link to clients for payment purposes. Keep in mind, you need to have the credit card processing module. You cannot have the credit card processing module without billing, and you cannot have billing and QuickBooks. It's either or. And as far as like the credit card processing module, we connect with LawPay or PayPal. Okay, so for the payments, you can create a payment plan and also allow your clients to store their payment info so that the payment goes through automatically. And if needed, you can also reverse the payments or provide a refund. And like I said, if you connect your LawPay or PayPal account to eIMMIGRATION, you can charge your clients or allow them to pay online. As far as the client portal, I'm going to show you how clients can also deposit funds into the trust account, how they can make their own payments and review their invoice details and payment history and everything from their client portal. And also related to that, we have a Timekeeper module, which you can use for time and billing. If you charge per hour, it can auto convert the fee based on the amount of time spent. And as I said, for those who have QuickBooks, I'm going to go over the integration. And I highly recommend that you guys use our global smart alerts. Those are pop-up windows that appear when someone owes you. So who doesn't want a reminder about that? If someone has an overdue invoice, you get a pop-up alert. And I love that feature because let's say you have the front desk scheduling an appointment for whatever, a consultation or whatever it is, and they owe you, so that front desk or receptionist can see, even though they have no idea about the situation for that overdue invoice, they see that alert. So I'll show you how to create those. And lastly, the Tickler contains information for those overdue 30, 60, 90 days invoices, okay? As always, we'll cover the resources and support. We'll have a Q&A, did you know section, and the upcoming training classes for the for the year. We're almost done. Okay, so let's start. Again, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Let me know if you guys can hear me fine. And regarding billing items, you need to have access to the admin. How many of you know how to access your admin tools? If you don't, I'm going to go over the steps really quick, just because some of you are new and you probably have no idea of what the admin portal is. And this is very important because you cannot create an invoice if you haven't customized at least one billing item. So I'm going to show you how to access your admin tools and how to do that. It looks like we've got 50-50. All right, so let's proceed. So what I'm talking about is when you log in into eIMMIGRATION, on the top right corner, there's a gear icon that says settings. You should see administrative tools. If you don't, it's because you don't have access. So talk to your supervisor, whoever gave you access to the system. They are probably the administrators, and they have to either allow you to access admin tools or they have to do it for you. I always recommend to right click and open in a new tab. I like to multitask, especially if you are learning the system. It's good to have both of the portals open, the administrator and the caseworker portal, side by side. Okay, so let's go here into the admin. And the first thing that we want to do is look at types of billing items. These could be like the filing fees, your professional fees, translation fees, consultation, shipping, whatever you want. These fees or type, I guess, categories of items, you can modify, you can add, or you can edit or delete. Okay, this is important. This is the first step because once you customize the categories or types of billing items, then we're going to go back to the admin tools and you're going to click here, billing items. Here, when you go to billing items, this is where you start adding how much is it that you're charging for your services. For example, for a consultation, we charge, well, 500 per hour. And so if you create a flat fee, you don't have to choose the hour rate. Let me show you. If you click add billing item on the left, you're going to come up with a code. We don't provide the codes, but it could be 001C as a consultation and this is what I was talking about. This drop-down menu, you guys can customize it. So if this is a professional fee or legal fees, USCIS filing fees, you can, again, customize this drop-down menu. And you're going to pick the description. I'll just pick consulting or consulta. I'll say we charge 100 flat fee. If it's an hourly rate, then you choose hour. Otherwise, leave it blank and then click save. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this. You have to create at least one billing item to get started. I usually recommend creating one that's just master one, something like this, master or general, where I just put edit and then I put $1. I'm going to change the description and the amount, the fee, when I get to create an invoice. If I don't have the time to be as specific for an N400, I-45, I-130. So if you have the time, great, so that you can start adding how much is the filing fee for a naturalization case, for an asylum, right, for an adjustment. So you can add all these different billing items for different situations, consultation or filing fees, or simply like a flat fee, like we charge 3,000 for this test. Now, the idea is that when you are done with your items, you put them inside the package, I guess, or the process type. If you notice here under case processes, if I click here and say, all right, so when we do offer, I'm gonna say, give me 1 second, let me search for mine. I usually use this one, but someone moved it, so I need to reorganize it. I'll just pick position 1. Okay, so for my adjustment of status, which forms do I need to use? And the system tells me the checklist. Obviously, you guys can add or remove forms. We have clients that are not attorneys that don't use the G28, so they can remove it. Steps, of course, what are the tasks or the timeline, the workflow for an adjustment of status? I want to customize this so that I know what needs to be done in how many days. And so this is the steps, etc. So you've got the documents checklist, the questionnaires, letters, and here's billing. This is where you guys can add those related billing items to the process. If I know that for an adjustment of status, we're going to charge 6,000, then I can put that flat fee or any filing fees. So if you haven't done that, I'm going to show you how the system shows zero items. But again, the reason why I'm recommending that you guys create at least a master general one, that's for $1, that you get to edit regardless if you haven't customized each process. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm gonna see. Okay. All right, so let's continue. Oh, someone just sent a, oh, good morning. Hi. I am glad you're here. Let me know if you have any questions. The question was, do we include a dollar sign? No, you don't. Let me create one. I'll just say legal fees. I'll put test and then 500. So you don't have to, I think because it's already here, so you don't need to include a dollar sign. In fact, if you try, it will say invalid price. So no need to add the sign. So just enter the amount, click save. I knew it. There's already another billing item with the same code. So thank you for the question. All right, so let's continue. So after you customize your items, let's switch now to the other window, which is the caseworker portal. Okay, this is the main window. This is where you guys create the invoices, work with forms. So this is the main one. The administrator is just for customizations, okay? So when you're here, let's create a contact, right? So you enter, maybe this is a prospect, you enter the information because you need to go over the consultation. So you're gonna create the contact. Let me just enter information. Okay, so I created a prospect account, and remember we have features that you guys are probably not aware. Use the system fully as a full practice management solution, not just for forms. I can add my notes regarding the consultation. I can add a reminder. I can book the appointment in my calendar. So you guys have all these features like the actual reminder that goes to the prospect before the consultation. So let's pretend we went through all that and now we need to charge Gabriel. So when we go to billing, then I click on invoices. If I create an invoice from his contact profile, I can just add the invoice without a case. As I said before, we didn't have this option before. We had to create a case, and the case could have been just consultation, and then you had to add the expenses and create the invoice. Now, our developers have enhanced our billing module where you can create an invoice without a case. And at this point, you just add the items. See, if I add the items, it's going to give me the entire list, regardless if this is a naturalization or if this is an asylum. So this is where you pick, okay, for the consultation, I'm going to say 200. So I'm just going to add at the bottom of the list. I click add, and I can modify it. See where it says actions, select, edit? This is where you guys can change this. I said, okay, or we normally charge 200, but I don't know, I'm just gonna do to the holidays, we're giving you 20% off. So I'll just put 20 off. And the consultation happened last week. So now I click save and it shows the extended price. Regular price is 200, for you is 160, and the template is default unless you have paid for a custom invoice template. I don't recommend limiting the type of payment. Just leave it open unless you just want to take ACH or you just want to take checks, or so just leave it open. And this also, it's up to you if you want the client to receive a confirmation via email every time you process a manual payment. So I'll just check that. Some clients don't like that. This is actually a request from one of our clients. They needed that confirmation. So I'm just going to click add. All right, so this is the invoice. It shows his name only because I don't have his address. I can show you how to update the address afterwards, after I create the invoice, okay? So don't worry about that. If you're new and you don't have your logo yet, let me quickly show you where to do that. In the admin, if you want your logo to appear, go to your application settings and then click on branding. This is where you can upload your logo. Make sure you follow these instructions so that your invoices have the logo. Okay. The due date, it's also important. You cannot create an invoice without the due date. I actually recommend that you also look at the application settings for billing from the administrator portal. Again, you go to application settings, go to billing, and I recommend that you automatically set that due date. If you want, I don't know, 30 dates from the invoice date or the 30th of the month, or so I highly recommend that you guys customize your settings to save time. For example, at the bottom of the invoices, there's a section for notes. Might as well just put anything that's important for my clients to know, such as for cell payments, use this, or I don't know, checks go to this PO box number. Thank you for your business. That way I don't have to retype this over and over again. Okay, so just review all these settings because obviously these vary. Each attorney works differently. Okay, let me go back to the invoice. You can modify the description. For example, I can put here something like descuento del 20%. Like I can add more to the description. What I cannot do is change the quantity. It's not letting me. If I needed to modify this and say it wasn't 20, but I don't know, 15% or whatever, I can, or I have to close the invoice, go to my settings, edit, modify, and then come back and re-add the invoice. Because once you save the invoice, you cannot modify this. Okay, so let's go ahead and review, make sure everything looks fine, and then I click save. Once I am completely satisfied with this invoice, and I close. Let me know if you guys have any questions about how to create the invoice from the contact profile. Before I show you how to add late fees or how to process a payment, I do want to go over the other scenario where you have a client with a case. For example, let me go to my existing cases. Okay. For example, I am going to use this adjustment of status and click on billing. First, let me see if anyone has any questions. Okay, I'll continue. I don't see anyone submitting questions at this point. So now that I explained how to create an invoice from the contact profile, I am now going to explain how to create an invoice from the case profile. This is an actual matter, and I'm going to select billing, expenses, and charges. Can you review how you added that discount? Yeah, I'll do it right now in this second invoice. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is add expenses. Before you create an invoice, you always add expenses. What is it that I'm going to include in that invoice? You cannot add a new expense, I guess. You could add a late fee or a discount afterwards, and I'll go over that. So let's say that for this, I'm going to charge 6,000 flat fee. So I select the fee or the expense. Sorry, I forgot to say this. Remember I told you that when you select a matter, just pick one, and you don't see any records found here, if I pick a process and I don't see anything listed, it's because I haven't customized the process by linking the fees. Remember I said that from the admin. If that happens to you, just choose no process, all billing items, that's all the way up, and that way you can see the full list of items. If you have customized the process and you pick the process, then it will show you the checklist. Okay, so I'm going to select from there, click add at the bottom, and this is where you do the discount, by the way. This is where you click select, edit. If the normal price is $6,000, just change the quantity. Instead of charging the full 6,000, I'm going to charge 0.70, which is 30%. Okay, so I'm going to select maybe, I don't know, he signed the contract back in October, or so I save that, and now it shows the original price versus the extended price. And again, you can modify the description too. adjustment of status, 30% off. That's how I do it. I change the quantity. If I want to reflect that percentage, I just do the difference. All right, so 10 minus 3 and just 0.7. All right, so now I see the extended price and I can proceed to create the invoice once I have the expenses. Some attorneys, what they do is they just add expenses throughout the case, itemized, and then they add an invoice when they're ready. Or the majority of the attorneys do a flat fee. They charge an initial payment, like half off, and then the other half, I don't know, 3 months later, or they do a payment plan. It varies. So when you go here, invoices, that's when you select add invoice. You select the client. Why do I select the client? Well, the reason why is because the invoice will have her name or his name. And also because if I want them to log in to make a payment, then whose client portal access or whose credentials are going to work, either Francisco's or Valeria. So that keep that in mind. It doesn't matter if this is a petitioner or the beneficiary, is who's going to pay. So I'm going to select the client, select the fees or the expenses. At this point, again, review and make sure that everything looks fine before you proceed. All right, so I'm going to choose if I want to send the confirmation for payments manually or not, and then click save. Now I see this client has tons of addresses, so that's why you can pick the address. I'll show you what happens when you create an invoice and you have to update the address. Remember, your logo can be added, the due date, it's important. Here's a description. Again, you can modify it, but I cannot change the fee. Below, I can see my notes by default, although I can customize this. Just please pay on time. And then I'll just save. Once I save my invoice, I get this green bar on top that says the invoice was created successfully. Just close it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to show you now how to add a late fee or a discount. So it turns out that it wasn't 4,200. I need to add a discount or a late fee. If I click here, manage discounts and late fees, I can choose what I need to do. I'll just say I forgot to add the holiday discount, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we're giving $50 off, and then the date, and then save. So close. If I open the invoice, I can see the regular fee or expense and then the discount. Obviously, it's going to be less at the bottom. Okay, that's how you can add a discount or a late fee. Let me know if you guys have any questions at this point. I'm going to show you now how to process a payment. So the way you process a payment, if I know the invoice number, which I'm going to write down because my short-term memory, 2918. Okay. So if I know the invoice number and I'm front desk or receptionist and they come in, I want to pay. You see here on your home screen, you have quick links. If you guys click on that, then you can see process payment. So it's a lot easier if you say, sure, what's your invoice number? So then you just enter the invoice number and select how much you want to pay. Well, I'm giving you 1,500. Charge my card. By the way, if you guys don't see payment card because you probably don't have the credit card processing module. Now let's say they give you cash. The 1,500 cash is for the initial payment. And they paid yesterday. And so I just apply the payment from here and I get this green confirmation on top and then I can just close it. That's it. Now, of course, if this client, let me take you to her profile. If I go to invoices, I can see that invoice and I can see the payment history. So it was for 4,150 minus 1,500, so her balance is 2,650. If I open the invoice, on the second page, we have a payment history. So I see the dates, type of payment, amount, who processed that. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that. I created an invoice, but the order of the payments and discounts wasn't right. How do we adjust it? No, if you made a mistake on, or what do you mean by the order of the payments? So you cannot adjust that. Once it's processed, you cannot modify it. You would have to create a new invoice. So let me show you how to, let me see, what's my, right now, I already explained. Okay, so we went over this, and I'm going to show you now how to send the link to your client so they can pay. Okay, let's switch back. So if I have this invoice and I need her to pay, I can click here, send payment link to client. That could be sent either via email or via text message or both. Now remember, clients, well, you have to link your LawPay or your PayPal account if you want the clients to process the payments online. Okay, so I'll just say this is for office of Cerenade in California, and then I'll just send the invoice and the link so they can pay. Like I wanted to charge first and then the discount right below it, but it pulled all the charges, then the discounts at the bottom. That confused the client because they were separated. Do you mind sending a screenshot of that to our technical support team? Because again, let me reopen that invoice. The way that the invoice works is you have the original fee, right? The billing item, and then the discounts. That's how it works. So I don't know how you did that. Maybe you, yeah, I don't know. So if you can send us a screenshot to the, yeah, it doesn't matter if you had 4, 10, like you, if you created that invoice, it should have all these items. And then if you add a discount or a late fee, it goes after the charges. So again, I don't know what happened or how you guys created that invoice. But yeah, you can always, the good thing is send us a screenshot, send us the link like this one so that we know which case or which client. And you can tell them, this is how I want it, can you fix it? Or most likely you're gonna have to create a new one. Yes, I want to match the charge to the discount. Okay, yeah, it sounds like you need to contact our technical support so that they can help you fix that. So just like I said earlier, be careful when you create the invoice, make sure that the items or the expenses are correct before you even click save on that invoice. Because once you create that, it's already set in stone, like you would have to delete and create a new one. Now, let me show you, after I send the link for my clients to pay, how do I create a payment plan? So she owes 2,650. Well, if I create a payment plan, I click here, select payment plan, and this is where I choose the first payment due date. Let's say January 1st. They're going to start paying 500 every month. So I pick every 1 month. You can change that maybe every 2 weeks. And I want to notify my client via email maybe 7 days before her due date. If I do have the credit card processing module and my LawPay or PayPal account linked, I do want to include a payment link so they can pay online once they get the notification. But even better, if my clients want to pay automatically, all I have to do is choose their payment method and then add it here so that when it's due, the system just processes the payment. Instead of sending the notification, the system is going to send a paid invoice. So that's how you create a payment plan. And yes, you can modify it afterwards. What I like about this is, for example, let's reopen. She's now on a payment plan. Look at the due date. It says here that she's going to pay $500 every month starting on January 1st. But what if she wants to apply a check, maybe brings a check today? So I'm going to add the payment. Here's the type of payment. I'll say check. And the amount of the check is $150. Check number is this. The date of the check is today. And then I add the payment. So in theory, 150 is part of her next payment due on January 1st, remember? So look at the payment plan details. The system updates the amount. And if you look at the payment history, we see the check has been applied. So now instead of 500, she has to give us 350 by January 1st. All right, now I'm going to show you later how to run reports. If I want to run a report to show in general who owes me or who has paid and how much. If I do want to provide a discount, a receipt, I can either click here where it says paid and select the payments and print, okay? Or I can just print the invoice and give them the second page of the payment history. How do I add the payment methods? You go to the contact profile and it's right here, payment methods under billing. I can either add the payment card or the ACH, the bank account, the routing number, and so either or, so clients can just pay automatically. The next question was, can we add sell to the type of payment category? No, you would do other and specify that it will sell. Let me do one example. So I'll use the same invoice. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's say she wants to pay via sell. So I get the confirmation that she sent the payment via sell. So I add the payment and then I'm going to choose other instead of payment card or trust account. So just select other, the amount of, let's say 100, and put the transaction or the code or whatever you want, just any confirmation so that you know it was via sell, the date when you got the confirmation or the deposit, and then just add the payment. That way you can still run a report to see how many payments did you get via sell and then cross balance and make sure everything matches. See, if I go to the second page under payment history, it's going to say sell. So then I can run a report, give me all the transactions that say sell. That's what I recommend. I am not sure if Cerenade is planning on integrating with Sell or Venmo or those. So for them, in the meantime, you can just use other. Okay. All right. So reverse. It turns out that it wasn't the same client. That sell payment for 100, it wasn't for Valeria. So I made a mistake and I need to fix it. Well, I can just click reverse payment, which is a refund or a void, and I can select the amount, and I'll just put here wrong client and the date, and then I'll just void the payment. Okay, so now let's take a look. All right, so if I go to my payment history, I see that the adjustment shows a negative 100 with the reference, which is wrong client, and then the balance goes back to the correct one. Okay, so let me close this. Okay, let me see if you guys have any questions. Okay, credit card processing. The credit card processing, you need to go into your admin account or portal to connect your LawPay or PayPal. That's done via the application settings under Payment Gateway. You need to add, like I said, either LawPay or PayPal with your corresponding accounts so that we can obviously take payments and then direct them to your trust account or operating account. Okay, so make sure that if you haven't done it, use our user's guide. Here I can search LawPay or PayPal. I think I have to do it all together. LawPay, enabling LawPay. So here's the step-by-step instructions on how to do that. Once you connect to your LawPay account, make sure that you pay attention to the settings, because when you go to your settings, you have to select the corresponding account, and then also the requirements for making a payment. Don't select name or email. It's just the ones that are explained here. Only these 5 items, okay? So your clients can just make the payments from their portal too. All right, let me know if you guys have any questions at this point. For those who want clients to deposit funds into the trust account, first of all, you need to give them access to the portal. So the way you do it, let me use that new client, Gabriel. Okay, so let's say Gabriel hired me after the consultation. So he's going to retain us and we want to give him access to his portal. So when I go to client access, I need to create a login. I'll just pick Gabriel L and then 1234 and create. I need to send him an email. So, hey, Gabriel, here's your username and password. Remember, you can modify this template. If you go into your admin portal, you can have different templates. And then, of course, keep these 3 items, the URL, the username and password tag, so that the system can auto-populate the details. I created one in Spanish. Just to give you an idea, let me search for it. It's basically the same thing, but it populates his name, and I kept the URL. I don't have to change the password bracket, just leave it as is, and then I'll email that. Something is up. Oh, yeah, of course, I need an email address. So I'll just say gabriel@test.com. Okay. Now I need to determine what type of access am I giving him. Can he access billing? And if so, can he deposit funds into this trust account? So you turn that on or off. You determine, depending on the type of package that you guys have, if you have custom reports, which reports can he run? Can he schedule an appointment if you guys have acuity, or can, like you can customize the access rights. Regarding billing, these are the 2. And once you enable the access and he can log in, let's see what happens. So he's going to access the portal. If this is the first time that he does it, then he has to change his password like this. Okay, let's log in as Gabriel. And this is what's going to happen. He can click on Invoices to see his invoice, which is the one that we just created earlier for the consultation. If he wants to make a payment, he can click here, Make a Payment, either via ACH or payment card. And the other option is, let me just open the invoice and review the information. Now, if he wants to deposit funds into his trust account, he can go here, deposit funds, enter the information, and deposit into the trust account. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions about this. Can our calendars sync with Calendly? No, we only sync with Acuity at this time. I'm not sure, again, if Cerenade has plans on integrating with other calendar options, but I know Calendly is not an option right now. We just integrate with Acuity, which is very similar. Okay, so let's go back to the caseworker portal. I already talked to you about clients making payments and clients deposit into the trust account. Now let me show you. Let's continue. What if you want to charge per hour and track your time? If you guys have the Timekeeper module, you're going to go to the tools and click Timekeeper. And this is where you can either start the time entry. Oh, it's funny because I haven't stopped this one. So let me just pause it. Okay. This was a lengthy consultation of like 695 hours. So let's say that we have tracked the time, right, that we spend. And then well, let me just modify it. Let's say it was an hour, 9 minutes and 41 seconds. Now I want to charge for that. I first need to modify the description and specify what is this for. Well, this was a consultation or a court hearing or driving time or whatever the commute. You can customize these default descriptions from the administrator portal. I'll just say consultation for and then modify edit. So I can put here that it was for Smith. So I save that, and now I know that this hour and 9 minutes is for the consultation for this client, but I want to move that to an invoice to see how much it is. So you guys click on select, move to, and then you choose case. Why not client? Because that doesn't trigger the time and billing. So if you want to charge and see how much it would be, select case, because you have to pick this option. After moving to case, also create an expense. So let me search for the case, which is Smith, and click move. How much do we charge for the consultation? Well, again, if you don't see the fee, it's because you have to choose no process. Give me all the time dependent billing items. So now you can see it here. It looks like we charge, remember, 500 per hour. So let's use that one. When you guys click select, there's a check mark. That's it. There's no, like, you just select and then scroll down to choose the expense date and click finish and navigate. I want to finish and navigate so I can go straight to that case and see my time entries. Eventually, I can have more than one, and it will add up the total time spent on this case. And if I go to billing, I can see my expense charges. So if we charge 500 per hour and it was 1.1614, so that's 580. Okay, with a timestamp and everything. So let me know if you have any questions about time and billing. One common question that I get a lot is, what if I want to modify? Let me add this on a new tab. So let me go back to the tools Timekeeper. If I want to modify this, I need to add the permission from the admin. And I say this because maybe you're the supervisor, the attorney, and you don't want your staff to be able to create a time entry from scratch or be able to edit. So you can change those or limit those settings that access from them, from the paralegals. Okay. Normally, if it's blocked, your paralegals can always can only start the time entry like this, and you can start the time entry for more than one. I believe that our developers have created, let me double check really quick. I think our developers created a setting where you cannot track more than one at a time. Give me 1 second. I'm pretty sure that that was recently added. Mm, you know what? I would have to check with them because oh, right here. Okay, sorry. I was like, where's the timekeeper? So I went to the admin, application settings, and then timekeeper is all the way at the bottom. So what you do here, this is what I was telling you earlier, that you can add like predefined descriptions so you don't have to type the whole thing. And this is what I was talking about. You can limit the time entry to one of those presets and enforce only one active timer at any given time. This is where you can also have the default increments. So yeah, these settings help you a lot because they will save you time. And that's something you do from the admin portal. Now let's talk about for those who don't have our billing module and you guys have QuickBooks. The integration with QuickBooks works this way. You go to the case window and you click on billing QuickBooks, or well, it says billing and then it says QB billing. So for QuickBooks, you have to search for the entity's name, find it, and click select. So this is where you create the charges, which by the way, you can change the status from accepted or pending. When I say this, I mean like in the admin, okay? In the admin portal. So if you want to change that, again, go to application settings and then just select QuickBooks. This is where you authorize your QuickBooks account, and this is where you change the settings for those charges. Either you send them to QuickBooks as pending charges or accepted. So this is where you change those settings. And again, the integration with QuickBooks is one way you can add or create the charges from here to QuickBooks. But as far as like creating an invoice or like running a report, processing payments, you have to log in directly into QuickBooks. Now remember that I started saying that we have global alerts that can tell you when someone owes you. Let me show you how to create those. In the admin, when you go to your types of categories or types, you should see global client alerts or global case alerts. So it's up to you. You can add an alert, select what type of alert. I'll just say info or warning. And this applies for anything. Like you could have an alert that says, I don't know, FYI, pay attention to, I don't know, like the passport being color copied. Do not take black and white. I don't know. I'm just giving you like any reminders or alerts, warnings. But if I pick advanced, then I can say, if there's an invoice that's overdue, let me know. In fact, I already have one here. Warning, there are X amount of overdue invoices. So let's take a look. If I was a front desk or receptionist and someone says, hey, I would like to see what my case status is, or I need to schedule an appointment with the attorney, sure, if I click on her name, right away I get the pop-up window. This is the alert that I was talking about. She has overdue invoices, and if I talk to the client, maybe there's an update or success, client will bring check tomorrow. I don't know. I'm just in case someone else talks to the same client, at least they see my note for this client. Okay. If I go to a different client, let's pick a different person. He also owes, there's overdue invoices, but again, I see that alert or this kind of like note, which by the way, these you can modify or delete, but not the global alerts. Let me know if you guys have questions, any questions at this point. Alrighty, I'm waiting for, okay, so I'm waiting for the rest of the participants to vote. Okay, I'll just continue. So thank you for voting. So the last portion of today's training is the tickler. The tickler is your general dashboard. You'll find that under tools. And let me make sure that you guys can see my screen. Yes. So the tickler is your one-stop shop, I always call it, or your helicopter view of not just reminders or expiration dates or tasks or, this is where you can see also billing information. I'm going to pick the default version of the layout. You can customize this tickler, the layout and the graphs, like you can modify your own layout. So I like this default one, and I can see my accounts receivable aging. So in the next, I'm sorry, no, not the next day, I've got invoices that are 30 days overdue. It tells me who owes me, the invoice number, the amount, and the due date. So again, this is 30 days overdue. I've got 3160 and 6190. I can customize, and obviously 91 plus. I can customize this information if I go to my settings under user preferences. Maybe I'm the paralegal who doesn't really handle invoices. So what should I see, or I'm not allowed, or maybe I don't want to see that. So I can customize my own tickler layout and settings. Okay. If I do want to see information for my reminders, I can customize also the time frames. If I want to change the layout, and again, I want to see invoice information, or maybe I do want to see invoice information, so I can pick from here. Accounts receivable aging, I'll just apply. So again, each user can customize their own tickler layout. And remember I told you about reports? Let me show you. If you click on search standard reports, you have billing related reports. This is where you can see a report with all the invoices with a pending balance. Let me run it. So it shows the client's name and the hyperlink. Obviously the invoice due date and the amount, how much have I received, but how much still pending. So this is a total to be paid minus the payments received and your balance since this date. So you can get this as Excel. Even better, if you guys have custom reports, my recommendation is that you create your own report with this, like you can use what we have, copy it, and then just add more columns like the phone number, email address, what service was provided, blah, blah, blah. That way you can give that Excel to your assistant or whoever's helping you, an intern, and have them contact these clients and let them know you have a pending balance. Okay. The way you do that in the admin, again, only for those who have custom reports. Just go to report templates and you can customize the report by making a copy. So if I search here invoices, this is the standard billing report, just click select copy. I already did one, and that's why it says custom. For example, I want to see just missed payments in the last 3 to 6 months. So I can run this report and change my criteria and the columns. Again, I want to add the phone number. I want to add, it looks like I've got the client name. Let me just put in the case number. Let me put their phone number here. So individual client, general info, I guess maybe their cell phone, and then the email address. So that's under client, general info, email. So let's see, I can test this. It looks like I've got 683 clients that have missed their payments in the last 3 to 6 months. And it shows me again, when was this is the last payment, the amount, so the dates, what type of payment, when was the invoice created, blah, blah, blah. so I can see as many columns as I need to. I like to put the phone number and the email so I can provide this as Excel or PDF to my staff, and they can just call them or email them about their pending balance. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions. I also recommend that if you guys want to create reports to be scheduled, you can schedule the report and say, you know what, let me just add a report to be sent to my accounting department. Maybe send them invoices. I'll just pick invoices with a balance and include the client's info, like I said. Send us as Excel on a daily or weekly basis, starting next Monday until the year 2050. In my accounting department, they don't have to use a license to log in, but I can provide this Excel with all the information that I need so they can get my money. All right, so see, at this point, it looks like we've covered the agenda for today, which is this. Remember to download my PowerPoint presentation because it has all these links that you guys can review at a later time. And of course, you will have questions, or as we said earlier, sometimes you have situations where you need to contact us for support. You can call us Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Pacific Standard Time. We're in LA, except on holidays. Or email us 24/7. That's our email address. You may also click on your home screen on the top right corner where it says help. That way you can send us a message, goes to our technical support team members, or you can send your feedback to developers as well. Like you asked me earlier, do you guys integrate with what was it, Cell or Calendly? Those questions we always encourage, well, at least I do like encourage clients to send your feedback to developers because the more clients that request a feature, maybe the faster they can implement it. We have a user's guide. Again, we do these webinars for free on Fridays, except on holidays. We have a podcast, our Facebook forum page where you can request to be joined, and that way you can see what other clients are asking. And then, of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And did you know these are some of the sections that or features that you are probably not aware of? So we want you to, again, maximize your investment. And if you are not aware, at least ask, hey, do you guys have e-filing? Yes. And did you know that you can also import data from the CBP website? Or did you know that we have the option to sync your calendar with Google or Outlook calendar? So we have um, features that we want you to take advantage of. These are the upcoming trainings for the month of December. Next week, we're going to release the schedule for January and February. So we've got how to efficiently obtain the client's evidence. And lastly, how to deal with data from forms to reports. So I'm going to stick around if you guys have any questions. In fact, I'm going to see if anyone has submitted any questions. But if you have to disconnect at this point, I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope that you learned something new and have a great weekend. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. You too. Have a great weekend. So I'm going to read some of the questions that you guys sent me. Some questions were submitted before, like when you register. So let me see if I didn't answer, then I'll just answer them now. One question was, I need a report that shows me the last payment the client made. Some cases are paid in monthly installments, and it will be very handy if I have a report or maybe a way to know when my clients are past due. Well, awesome. Now you know that if you go into the admin and you go to report templates, I'm pretty sure you guys have that option. The other thing is, if you again use the reports that we have, under the billing standard report, we have payments by date or payments by date and office. So you can also run that report And I can say, but this is in general, not by client specifically. You could do that too, where, hey, I just want to run the report by name of client, by due date, by amount. So again, that's why I recommend using our custom reports. But let's say I just want to see how many payments have I received in general since January until today. And it shows me the payment ID, client, the date, and the amount. Again, it's better for you to just create. Wait a minute, you guys are not seeing my screen. Oh, okay, here we go. Sorry. So I was showing the standard reports. And if you go to reports for billing, we have this payments by date. But again, you could also create a custom report, which is even better. Next question, let me see. Yeah, sometimes the client information doesn't automatically transfer. I think you were talking about forms. If forms are not, sorry, if the data or the client's information is not transferring to forms, make sure that when you create a matter, let me open a matter or a case. So when you create a case, look at the case parties. If you pick beneficiary here instead of alien, when you get to the forms, it won't transfer if the form says alien info goes here. So that could be a reason. The other reason is because you probably don't have the client's information in here in the system. But from the way you asked the question, you probably do have the data, but the role says beneficiary. So maybe just change that to alien. Let me pick a form so that you understand what I'm talking about. Let me open the I-45. So look at the forms left or right. It's going to say alien info goes here. If you picked beneficiary, then it won't transfer. You could also use the red button, click select, replace, and then pick the name regardless if it says beneficiary. Just click on his name or her name and it will transfer the data. Next question was, is there a way to link a client's Cerenade profile to their QuickBooks profile so we can track their balance, any overdue amount? No, like I said, the current integration we have with QuickBooks is limited and it only transfers the charges from Cerenade to QuickBooks. Taking payments through LawPay and they don't link to eIMMIGRATION automatically. That sounds like you need to contact our technical support because they do transfer when you process payments from eIMMIGRATION to LawPay. And then from LawPay, they should reflect. Sometimes I know that if you do like a refund here, like we did the late fee or the void, you do need to go to LawPay and do it manually. So double check. I don't know what the situation was, but maybe that's what happened. You need to go to LawPay and update it. And I think those are the only questions that you guys sent. Okay, great. So let me know if you guys have any questions before you disconnect. I hope that your questions were addressed during the webinar, so please vote before you go. And if they were not, again, remember, please contact our office for technical support so that we can assist you. Awesome. All right, well, thank you so much. I hope that you guys learned something new. As I said, thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you, you too. Have a great weekend and happy holidays. Bye-bye.